Hi everybody, it's Les Rody with the Marcus Braintrust, and joined today by Dan Thies, Corey Burke, and Michelle Chance Sang Thong. There, I got it right this time. All also of the Braintrust. And so today we're actually devoting our episode to things you can do with Facebook. Yeah, no,
Look
not
at pictures of cats. What else?
looking at pictures of cats and making money because of it, or somehow, I don't know, whatever. And so actually, I think it's Michelle has the prepared presentation today, and so we'll
I
see
do,
if she
I
can.
do.
We'll figure out. We'll have her try to share her screen. And so, any before we dive into that, Dan, do you have any opening comments or any pearls of wisdom? None. Pearls of swine. Okay, whatever.
Oh, wow, here we go.
There we go. All right, so take it away, Michelle. And of course, if you have questions, put them in the chat. Post your questions here. Display sticky, and we'll take a look at that and get to your questions at some point. Probably at the end of the webinar. So take it away, Michelle. You got it.
All right. Fantastic. Can you see my screen?
Yes. For a minute it was.
Excellent. All right. And a surprised person. All right, fantastic. Well, hey everybody, we thought we'd talk about martinis today. That's what this is about, right?
Yeah, do you want to go to full screen, or do you, because we're...
You tell me. I can't see what it looks like, so let's do that.
Yeah, do full screen mode.
Can you still see it?
Yeah, if you hit the play, it probably has to catch up in a minute. You hit the play button?
Yes, sir.
Huh. This is where we all start laughing about.
So we'll just go back here. Check this. And we just won't worry about that. How's that?
I guess we won't worry about it. Yeah, you might like zoom to fit so that at least you can see the whole slide. Or
Yep.
it is the whole slide. Okay, cool.
On my side it is. So you guys let me
Right.
know. I don't want to be like you last week where they let you go through the whole presentation and
Right.
they bothered to mention that they couldn't see your screen.
Yeah, that was really rich. Okay. Well, for some reason we're not actually seeing you in play mode. We're seeing you in edit mode, but that's okay. Why don't you
That's
just
fine.
continue on anyway?
That's fine. Perfect.
Okay.
So this week we really wanted to talk about Facebook. I appreciate you guys nominating me for this. That was very kind of you when I was away last week. That was so sweet.
Yes.
But really, and we've talked about Facebook a couple of times, but the thing that makes me happy about Facebook, and here's our first fail in the sharing because the screen isn't quite big enough, is that, Facebook lets us advertise to people that already know and like us. And that's a beautiful thing. So you can advertise to people who are already on your fan page, and you can even advertise to your email list. But that's only like a small part of it. And this isn't really any big surprise to people, but I think it's really worth talking about is if you already have an audience, you can advertise to them via Facebook, right? But the other part is that you actually can do some magnetic targeting. And so you can extract from that and actually find people on Facebook who may like your stuff. It's very possible that out of the, I've lost track of the numbers, there's 1 billion U.S. people. I don't know, it's some crazy number.
1 billion people.
170 million daily users in the U.S. or something like that. And the U.S. is only a small part of the market share, by the way. But you can do magnetic targeting where you're actually laser focusing to the audience that you want. And Dan and I were on a call earlier, and it really is, and Dan said it really clearly, it really is about slicing that audience down until you get a nice core group of people. The smaller it gets, up to a certain point, is really great because you're getting better spend for your advertising dollar to a really targeted market. Now this is Dan's favorite thing to talk about, and I kind of like it too, but it's creating clones, right? Which in Facebook they call a lookalike audience. So you can actually take your fan base that you already have, your email list of people who've already raised their hand on your website, bought from you, joined your list, subscribed, and you can take and upload this into Facebook and create a lookalike audience, and you can say, I'd like it to look like as much as possible like the people I have, or I'd like it to be broad and have as much reach as possible. And then you can take that list and actually go back into the magnetic targeting and slice the people that I believe look like my customers, and now I want to apply some things to that. It might be helpful to have an example, but I'm working with a customer right now where we can do a lookalike audience, but one of the things we know about this customer is that typically their home value, because of the value of the item sold, their home value is over $300,000 a year. So we can find people who look like their customers and have a home value of over $300,000, not per year, sorry, over $300,000, right? And so that's kind of cool, and that's sort of new and different compared to how we've done a lot of advertising in the past. Right, guys?
Yeah, yeah, we got you.
It's really bad like this. I can't see you, so I have to assume you're just nodding along, and we're good. So, so right in Facebook, you can actually create this custom audience. You can do it from your customer list by uploading it or just copying and pasting it up to 10,000 records at a time if you're going to copy and paste. Otherwise, you need to import it. You can use website traffic, which is really cool. That means you can set a pixel on your website. We're going to talk about that in the next slide. Set a pixel on your website to gather people. And for instance, this one we're gathering here. And hopefully you guys can see it. And if there are any questions that come up, guys, I can't see that from here, so let me know.
Yeah, we got it. I'm watching.
In this case, we actually are gathering an audience, people who landed on a page that has the word cart, but did not land in a page that has the word thanks. And for this customer, that means they added to cart, but they didn't check out. And so now we can chase them. In this case, it's set for 30 days. We could chase them for 5 days or 10 days around Facebook and say, hey, did you mean to leave your beautiful item in the cart? Perhaps you'd like to come back and finish your transaction. Another beautiful thing.
It's really cool, Michelle, because that's a rolling audience. So it's everybody that added something to the cart in the last 30 days.
Right.
And tomorrow, some people will drop out, and some new people will still be in it.
And it continuously works. And that's really cool. That's been kind of the fun part of me watching this grow. Is because I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's a new audience today. New people came in, old people left.
Yeah, that's the moving parade. Terry asked a question here, and I think this is true, although I'm not sure it really matters one way or the other. I mean, which FB page, he says this would sound like the business should have its own Facebook page and not be the Facebook page associated with a personal timeline. Well, yeah, that's can generally be true.
Yes.
You
can't advertise without some advertising account. You can't advertise only with a personal page. You can't advertise with an account that's only business, but not with only a personal page.
Right. And
That's
I mean, for branding purposes, it should be your business anyway. I mean, if you're gonna talk to your family and friends about what you had for lunch or where you're going on vacation, do it on your personal page. But your business page ought to be business.
Exactly.
Oh, I've been doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Well, Dan, we know that you're all business all the time.
I'm the one that spent like $50 accidentally sponsoring a post about it wasn't what I had for lunch, but it may as well have been. So.
Oh, well, I didn't grab that screenshot, but I have a $171 story about the same kind of thing. Maybe we'll get around to that in a bit. Here is where, when you upload your audience, you can also create a lookalike audience, and this is all from your advertiser panel. But when you create the lookalike audience, it asks you, where are we getting this information? What country should they be in? And then, do you want to optimize this audience to be more similar or to get the biggest audience with reach? And
I know the answer to that one.
Which one, Dan? Tell me.
You want to reach as many people as possible to increase your chances of winning the lottery, right?
Wrong. That answer is wrong. Corey, do you have the sound effects for this week? I think I sent that to someone.
No, you sent it to me, but I don't have it.
Wah, wah, wah. There you go.
No, you want it to be smaller, Dan, and you know this. You're just trying to give me trouble. But making it smaller allows you to increase your repetition on a smaller budget and actually, even better, reach people who are more likely to buy. I would much rather show what we have to sell to 10,000 highly qualified people 4 times than 40,000 people once.
Yeah, one of our good friends, Ben Morris, says, what is it? Reach tells, frequency sells. And this is a really good example of that. I mean, yeah, increasing your reach is great, but it's the frequency that actually sells. And so you want to get a narrow market of the most engageable, and then hit them over the head with it until they buy. Yeah.
Well, the beauty of that is when they engage, because they're the right people, it actually is cheaper to run the ads.
Yeah, there's that too.
Right. We've seen, and we've seen lots and lots of, examples. I know, Dan, you've talked to people with some case studies, and I'm seeing it with stuff we're doing. I'm working on an ad right now, and for a client, and today, we've had a 10% click-through on their ad. I think we spent $1.67. It was to a pretty small group, but at that point, I think $1.67, we could afford that.
Mm.
Well, I told you about the retailer I was talking with last week, Michelle, and it was they spent about $60, and it looks like about $6,000 in revenue, and the size of the audience was actually 6,000 people. So if it's kind of that if you could get everybody to give you $1,
right?
Well, if you ask the right people, that's actually possible, as it turns out.
I'll take $1 million of those, please, Dan.
Absolutely.
Find that audience that's willing to give me $1. Okay. I'll even share it with you if we can do that. But yes, absolutely. It's really kind of wild and crazy. And Facebook, I don't want to. We've all been around doing this for a really long time, and Facebook is not the wild, wild west that SEO once was, but it kind of is in a lot of ways, right? Because a lot of people are suck at doing it, or they're just trying to hammer these buy from me, buy from me, buy from these messages over their customers' heads. And that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. I just had to throw that in there. But you really have the opportunity to engage and get involved with the customer and show them information and share with them and warm up the crowd and do drip campaigns, and you can do it all very affordably and very cheaply. And when you have a special offer, then you can tell them about it as well. In the actual ad page, hopefully you guys can see this. Since I'm in edit mode, I can make this a little bigger. In the ad page, well, maybe I don't want to do that. There is a create ad. There's a create ad button. Mm-hmm. So if you go into your ads manager from your Facebook page and then you go into create ad, you can create an ad from right there. And if you have not been in here lately, we had someone in the Skype chat mention it. If you've not been in here lately, there are a lot of new options. It used to be clicks to website, conversion, page posts, page likes, and event responses.
So, Michelle?
Yes.
Now, here's one that for folks that have maybe tried Facebook advertising before and it didn't work out, most of the time when we go back, the biggest problem is targeting. But the other thing is a lot of people will go with that clicks to website result or website conversions. And what we've actually found is that the page post engagement ad type actually works significantly better, especially when you have a new audience that you've just uploaded and you don't have history of conversion and stuff like that with Facebook. And a lot of people tell you that's the wrong thing because you're trying to buy likes. We don't create ads that try and get people to push like. The ad ends up with a like button on it, but it's distributed to people that are much more likely to click stuff, and so you end up with kind of a warmed up audience to start with. We're using almost like a drip campaign, for lack of a better way to put it. So warm up. Every post is not buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. It's a keeping it in the field of vision, keeping it top of mind for people too as it comes through their feed. Because we see, I don't know what the number is now. We used to see 3,000 advertising messages a day, and that was pre-Facebook. Who the heck even knows now? Some crazy amount, right? A million.
A bazillion plus to infinity. But now I like page post engagement, and I like it because you have the ability to get a little more text in there sometimes, or you have the ability to control the ad differently, and it doesn't look and feel like an ad. It still says sponsored on it, but it doesn't feel like an ad. I also have used occasionally, I'm working on one right now for offer claims, because it's a local business and they want people to come in and take advantage of this offer. The video views is also new. I've been testing video views. One of the nice things about the video views is you can actually advertise a video that's uploaded to Facebook as long as it meets the criteria, right? You can still have a link in the text of the advertisement or the link in the text of the video description, but they can play native in Facebook this video without ever having to leave, and it doesn't have to be on YouTube.
Now we can still use a video post with the page post engagement ad type, right?
Yep, you still can. And I'll tell you the difference of what I don't like, Dan. So let's say that on page post engagement, it's a YouTube video, for instance, that you've done a link to a YouTube video on page post engagement. At least as best I've been able to do, when you share a YouTube video on Facebook right now, and you know next week it could be different. It's a moving target, and I'm kind of trying to stay on top of all this. But the last 5 or 6 that I've done this week have all ended up with this 150 by 150 pixel. And by actually uploading the video into Facebook, I end up with a beautiful 400 by 200-ish image.
Yeah. You don't want to embedding a YouTube and sponsoring it is like it's like sending money to YouTube.
Exactly. So it is. But here's the thing: everybody's because it's fluid. People are getting different results. People are trying one thing, and it's working for them. We'll do more of that, right? And test some more, and see what works well for your audience.
Driving Facebook traffic to YouTube, if you're trying to get viewers on YouTube, you're trying to get subscribers on YouTube, is actually usually more affordable than running an AdWords campaign to do the same thing.
Very good point.
Yeah.
It's all about it's all about the results you want, right? It's all about the results, what you're trying to do. So.
And sometimes we'll put a YouTube video on a blog post and drive traffic to that, so that people play the video on our site. But we can also then have a remarketing audience based on people that wanted to go watch that video. We call that qualifying content.
And Facebook is getting kind of fun in some ways. Last week I wanted to share a page that had a video on the page. So I uploaded an image with a video button to link to that page, and they said, no, you can't do that. Even though the page was a page of videos. It happens. And so this week I'm running the ad again under to a different audience. And lo and behold, I used my regular plain ad. And when the ad started running, Facebook actually overlaid a video button on it.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
So honestly, someone is just testing.
There
So
are
that was
2,000 left hands that don't know what the 5,000 right hands are doing at Facebook. Yeah. I think it's going to be like that for a while.
That was an open graph effect, right? So basically, they pulled.
No.
They must have pulled.
They figured out it was a video, and they put a video thing on there. Yeah.
They figured out it was a video, but the pictures they're using are the actual custom images that I added to the ad to the images. But my images do not have a video button on them.
That's really so what they interpreted that as a video, but you swapped out the still.
Yeah.
That's the effect you got.
But it's perfect for me. It's exactly what I wanted. So thank you, Facebook. I'm not complaining.
Saves you time. Don't have to make your video play button version of the image.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really
Save me another 5 minutes. I like it.
Yeah.
The other kind, aside from running ads this way, another way that you can actually run ads on Facebook is through a boost. And I just grabbed the screen capture here, and you probably have seen it if you have your Facebook page. There is a boost button here, and sometimes a boost is kind of cool. I like boost, and I have it on another slide. But one of the things I like about boost is when you boost a post, it boosts the whole post. So you're not limited to the 110 characters or 105 characters or whatever it is in a Facebook ad. You actually, whatever your post was, it is. You don't have to rewrite it. You don't have to do anything for it. And it's another way to reach people who are actually already fans of your page. And if you guys haven't noticed, you can now use a boost to reach your custom audiences. So if you have custom audiences defined in Facebook, you can actually boost the post right from Facebook, spend $1, spend $5, spend $50, whatever it is, to your custom audience right from your page.
So that could be any audience, right, Michelle? I mean, that could be a lookalike audience. That could be a custom audience that you've uploaded. It could be a website custom audience, which is, a remarketing audience. Any audience.
Yep. That's everything I've seen so far. Yes.
And so that's almost, so Boost is a way of doing an ad that's not a dark post. I mean, it just seems like you've got two different ways to go to it, whether you want to have a live post or a dark one, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and what it does is it sticks that post in the news feed as if they, kind of the same way that they would have seen it if they would have seen it, So you get the full text.
Unsponsored post. Other than having the word sponsored, it looks just like a post.
What were you going to say, Corey?
Boost is the equivalent of when Google launched those Places ads. Instead of doing it's the easier way for a business owner to try to boost their posts rather than going through the Ads Manager platform.
It is, but it is also in some ways more useful. Michelle knows her way around the Ad Manager platform, but she still uses Boost sometimes because it actually is a better fit for what we're trying to do. So if we're trying to engage with people with content, so let's say that you wanted to sell antivirus software because you're one of those bastards, right? Sorry, antivirus software people, I apologize. But if you wanted to like sell more, share 3 or 4 stories over the course of a week about people that had horrible virus disasters and they lost all their data and the Russian mafia stole their children because they had a virus, and then offer to sell them antivirus software. Your conversion rate will be better at the end of that sequence of innocent-looking news stories.
Yep. We're using Boost for drips.
Gotcha.
The content drip, the message, kind of manipulating people's moods, as Facebook bragged about doing earlier this year with their research, right? You can do the same thing to manipulate their mood toward being more likely to understand or want what you're offering.
Exactly.
And it's cheap.
Yep. All right. Exactly. Cool.
Kind of cool. So if you're we want to talk about targeting real quickly. You can get into, if you're going through a regular ad, this is not what it looks like in a Boost. This is what it looks like in a regular ad. But in a regular ad, you can see here you can actually choose your custom audience, and so it'll let you go out and grab that custom audience that you have. And then from there, you can pare it down. Should it be 18 to 65? Should it be men versus women? Should it be 30 to 54? And you can use audience insights to get some of that data. If you don't know it, you should know it. But go and get it. Then you can add language if you choose. You can add all this stuff in demographics, relationships, work titles. I'm actually testing some audiences right now based on corporate titles. So CEO, CFO, CMO. Because those people actually are on Facebook.
And this is this same screen is used for both boosting and for the other sorts of targeting you do in Ad Manager or whatever, right?
No, this is only in Ads Manager. The boosting screen is far less complicated. In boosting, you only have 4 choices. You have gender, location, interest, and age.
Gotcha. All right. And so, but when you push the boost button, it takes you to the
I
right
had these in the wrong order. I apologize. Yes.
Okay. All right. So so then, and Phil was asking, how is Boost different than page post engagement? Now, I think that's a why don't you answer that? I think that's important here since we've been talking about both.
Absolutely. So a boost allows you to take a page post that you've already made and boost it to your audience. So you can boost it to people who already like your page, people who like your page and your friends, which I'm not really a big fan of, and or a custom audience. The beautiful thing about a boost is it looks just like a post. It is a post. All you're doing is paying Facebook to show your post to the people that you'd like.
Yeah, and that answers Terry's other question too. It's like before you can boost it, it has to be published. So it's the opposite of a dark post, where a dark post.
Not a dark post, no.
Right. So you can only boost something you've already published. And so that's just taking something that's already organic and extending it.
And I mean, Facebook actually, they'll send you alerts if you have a page, a post on your page that's doing particularly well with your audience, and encourage you to boost it.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course they will.
Fantastic, because I mean that actually is a good one to boost because it's going to reach more people because it's already gotten good engagement. But the other thing about the page post engagement ad type is that you can, that's the one that lets you have Facebook optimize for engagement.
Right.
And that's what allows us to reach the most hyperactive people. So when we take, we take a retailer, we upload their customers, we build a lookalike audience, we add a couple of interests that say, okay, they're actually likely to want this, maybe add a partner category for people that are online shoppers, and then we go after the ones that are the most likely to click, and they tell 2 friends, and we end up getting 5 times the reach, and 4/5 of it is organic from people sharing and stuff like that, rather than just what we paid for. So it gives us a great multiplier effect when we use it.
Absolutely. And it, it's 2 different ways to run the ad. Terry's question is 2 different ways to run the ad. And really what you have to do is test for yourself, right? Because it may work better for some as a page post engagement versus a boost. And it comes down to marketing and testing and seeing what works for your audience and being comparative. Because if your message on Facebook, by the way, and we've talked about this a lot, your message cannot be buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. People did not come to Facebook to buy your stuff. People came to Facebook to see cat videos and pictures of their grandchildren.
You've got to get their interest.
Yeah.
The attention, interest. Start with interest on Facebook.
Right.
If what you have catches their interest, then you'll have their attention. Otherwise, you will not. Big headline, stuff like that. I mean, we've seen some hacks where people are running, big orange boxes as an image, and that gets people to stop down and look. But if the thing wasn't interesting, that ad would not be working. It would be getting complaints.
Exactly.
And so it's still down to targeting well and stuff like that. One thing I want to mention about, about boosting versus using the engagement ad, stuff like that. Boosting the stuff to friends of fans, that's something that's going to be really hit or miss, but depending on who you're trying to target. If you targeted a bunch of old school SEO people, we don't know anybody but other old school SEO people, so our friends are very good candidates. Most things that you're targeting, their friends don't care about their weird My Little Pony trading card hobby. Their friends aren't necessarily interested in the same things they are, and so that's where that's going to really fall flat.
Their friends don't even know they're bronies.
Right, like Corey. Are you going to wear your costume next week, Corey?
I'm wearing it right now.
Oh, that's your pony costume? It's not very good. You should invest in improving that.
It's from the waist down.
Oh, okay. Carry on, Michelle. Save us.
No, that's fine. But yeah, absolutely. I got a phone call from a friend who said, Michelle, you ran a really crappy ad. And I was like, yeah, I did run a crappy ad. I sort of did it on purpose. I wanted to see what would happen. But I proved my point as I ran it to fans and their friends and did not get a very good response because the target was entrepreneurs. Well, entrepreneurs are friends with lots of people who are not entrepreneurs.
Yeah, true.
Unlike maybe the prepper market, prepper people might be friends with people who are in the prepper market. Right, and so it really is going to depend, and you're going to have to do marketing tests and find out. But it's not too late because if you have some budget to work with it, you can start doing testing today on these things, right? A couple of little housekeeping items to think of though is when you are doing your boost. So if you're making blog posts, if you're sharing links on Facebook, if you're doing things like that on Facebook where it's a link out and it automatically grabs a story, grabs an image, make sure that your open graph tags are good, and you should make sure that the image that you want to share is in one of these proportions. If not in a 1 to 1.91 proportion, then you get to control what's in your ad and what's in that image. If you put up a square image, Facebook crops the top and crops the bottom and only keeps the center part that is this 484 by 253. And so if you want to control what's shown on Facebook, you can either fix it on your page that it's uploading from, or you can actually upload an image specific for that page right then and right there when you share the link on Facebook. Same thing will apply with these kinds of images when you're doing an actual ad. You want them in these proportions for most of the ads. If you're doing an event boost or something like that, portions might be different, and it'll show you. You can look right on the ad. If you want to go in and play with it, you can start an ad with no commitment, look at it, mess with it, and never start it. Hit cancel and find out what all these settings are going to be. And it'll tell you the recommended size ads on Facebook for the kind of post that you're trying to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But
okay.
The other part of this is you have to be sure of, and this is different than display ads and banner networks, is you have to meet this 20% rule. So the link here actually will take you guys, and I'll make sure it's along with the video, and we'll put it over in the chat. You can use the Facebook Grid tool to upload your image and be sure that you're within the 20% compliant. You cannot have more than 20% of your ad be text, or it may get rejected. Unless you want to spend $200 and then they'll just accept it, right, Corey?
Is that right? Okay,
it's not. They're not supposed to, but it did happen. I went to boost a post. It meant to be. I may show you guys in a second. I meant to boost it for $2, and I accidentally boosted it for $200. I must have changed the setting. I caught it at $171. But it was way more. It was like 50% text, and they still let it go through. So maybe it's all about how much money they'll make off me.
It could be. What the way that the 20% text thing works is it's simpler than it used to be, because it's really count the number of boxes that have text in it. So you can have far less than 20% text and still violate the rule, because you could have like 1% text and still have a little tiny piece of text in each box, and your ad will fail.
Right.
But sometimes text on something that's in the picture is okay, and sometimes it's not.
Right.
And we've seen cases where something, like somebody had a watch and it said, like Rolex on it, but that covered like too many boxes. But then they put text across the top, and then Facebook ignored the text on the watch and just looked at the text that they put across the top. And so it's a very, very weird thing. I mean, Michelle, the Hershey bar that had too much text because it has Hershey embossed on it.
Yeah, it said Hershey.
And that one might have been okay if we'd have stuck text at the top and so turned the candy bar into a background image. But yeah, it's not as bad as it sounds, but it's not as good as it could be.
It's very fluid. I mean, I think, and my impression is that it goes through some sort of a computer checker first, right? And it gives it a good enough pass. And then if there's anything questionable, it goes off to a human checker. And I have found that running ads on the weekend, I tend to get things to run that might not otherwise run.
That's a little pro tip there. Yeah.
The backup team working on the weekends approving ads. Sure, whatever. Another beer.
And I think someone asked about this on another call about body image. We had this one of our first calls. I was able to share for another client a Groupon. We actually promoted their Groupon on Facebook, and the Groupon image that loaded in was mostly nude, or in Facebook terms. They weren't nude, but in Facebook terms they would normally not approve it, and they approved it. And then I needed to run the ad again, so I made sure I duplicated that exact image the next time I ran it and not promoting to Groupon, and it got approved. Now that I've said that out loud and somebody from Facebook is here, but I've run the same image before and it was not approved. So it didn't.
Trust me, nobody from Facebook has any power to change anything. Don't worry about it.
So just understand that this is in some ways it is a wild west. It is a moving target. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now because that's all. Other than this, a couple of pros and cons here on boosts and ads. Ads are great, but you have shorter text. You have the ability to do rotating images. You can do super hyper targeting. It does take a little practice. Sorry for that. Oh, I can fix that because we're right here. It's live. It takes a little practice sometimes in ads to get your feel of things, but you can custom a target audience. If you want to do a boost, it's beautiful. You can write longer copy, longer text, but you only get one image. You have limited tools for targeting. But it is really easy to implement, and you can still target those custom audiences and lookalike audiences. So I don't know. I know I shouldn't be in love with digital advertising like I am with this, but it really it makes me happy.
Well, I think the thing missing here, though, is let's talk about some results. I mean, that's the reason to be in love with this is the results, not the technology. So let's talk about some results that you've gotten for our clients.
Before you do that, you said that boosts have longer text.
Yes.
If you have a post that it's already posted to your wall and you're doing a promoted post engagement ad, why would you have less text than if you boosted it?
On the promoted post, you may or may not. I'd have to go back and look at that again and make sure. But I have thought that on promoted post, it actually asks you to rewrite that copy on a promoted post. I may have to go back and look at that again, though.
Okay.
But for sure, if you're just going to do a straight-up ad and it's not a post, you have a much less copy than you can use for a boosted post. So
Right.
you could share your website on your page, write some great copy, and then boost that and have more copy to work with than if you did a website engagement on the other side.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But I'll go back and check. That's a great question, Corey, because it's sadly fluid. Last week might not be this week.
So let's talk about results.
Yes. You want to talk about results? Well, Dan actually is the one who's been talking to people about case studies.
Yeah, it's some of the stuff that we see happening is really, I mean, I haven't seen it since Google first came out with the real AdWords that had exact matching and stuff like that in it. And so, you know, Michelle, we've talked about a bunch, but the one that really just slapped me in the face was actually last week. I was speaking with a retailer, and they've got kind of it's a new business. It's something they've started up. They've done a lot of different things to sell it. Kind of funny that they were actually using trade shows like one of our other clients was doing for a different purpose. But they're selling apparel for breastfeeding mothers. And how do I target those people on AdWords? Well, I want, there's certain search queries I can find to if they know what they're searching for, right? If they know that this is available and they can go and search for it. But I'm also, in those cases, competing with a lot of big box or, baby big box retailers that are basically willing to buy market share. They're willing to pay more to get a customer than I can make by having that same customer. Somebody told me Walmart's willing to pay something like $65 to get people to register an account and buy something from the Walmart website, even if it's a tube of toothpaste. Well, normal people wouldn't do that because normal people have to make a profit. And so these guys started with it's the same old story. It's upload your customer list, build a lookalike audience. Add some targeting parameters on top of that. In their case, they went for people that had actually previously made purchases online, which you can do with Facebook, and a couple of other interests that we don't want to talk about. But one of them was a Facebook page for people that are more actively vocal about their rights to breastfeed in public, for example, because that's something that some places people have to fight about, and they ended up with adding all that targeting, boiling the targeted group down to only 6,000 people. But on the other hand, the ads that they ran were pretty simple. It was just, hey, here's some things that, and I don't even remember what the ad said. That it was more of an, oh, by the way, and we sell that. And the results there was about $6,000 in revenue. Funny thing was they didn't really have anything going on outside of that, and so they had about $4,500, something like that, in sales from Facebook through their store, but they also ended up with $1,500 in sales on their Amazon listings on the same 3-day period, which hadn't been doing much of anything. And so it looks like really closer to 6,000, where people actually went and showroomed them on their website and then went and bought their stuff from them on Amazon. And so somewhere between $4,500 and $6,000 in revenue on $60 in ad spend. And they were not, to give you a sense of where the business was before, they actually blew out the inventory that they had on their most popular products in this 3-day period, and so now they can't advertise for another couple of weeks until they get more inventory over, because before they were in a lot of ways they were trying to figure out how do we get rid of this stuff, and now just running Facebook ads with good targeting, now that when can we get more? And now they know how to generate traffic. And that magic moment when somebody goes from I've got an idea for a business to knowing that they actually have a business that's going to work is, I mean, to me, that's the most fun part of getting to work with people on marketing.
Tell me one more thing, one more stat on that. So we talk about when you get the targeting right, then the traffic you're actually paying for ends up getting this leverage effect. So that if for that $60 spend, what was the proportion of it end up being paid versus this organic amplification?
It was actually about 60% paid and 40% organic. And that's they didn't have a Facebook page audience. They didn't have. I mean, this is the first time they tried to reach these people, and it was. Remember, this wasn't let's target our customers. This was target people that are similar to our customers, and are fans of this page and a couple of other things demographically to try and make sure that there was actually still a baby around to hook into the baby carrier thing or whatever you use. I don't know. I don't understand all that technology. But it was about 40% organic and 60% paid. So not like the full blast boost that if they'd have done warm-up campaigns and all that kind of stuff they'd expect to see. Because like a lot of people, they were like, okay, these crazy people are telling me that this is going to work. I have to try it. And then when it happens, they're like, okay, now I should get serious. So he's going to get engaged and start working with Michelle so they can really ramp it up. Because it's one thing to kind of prove the concept, but it's another thing to grow it.
Well, it's still better than kicking the teeth, right? I mean, so that $60 basically
life-changing, probably,
the audience, right? I mean, just the 40% that's organic. That wouldn't be there without that that effect.
Yeah, it doesn't happen without the paid part. And like I said, I mean, sometimes this can be 4 or 5 times as much is organic reach. And when you're doing like the stuff we do for Link Liberation, that Corey's people are doing, and it's 4 to 1 is kind of normal. 80% organic, 20% paid is not that unusual when you're doing content that is really interesting to that audience.
Right. What other briefly? What another case study do you have, Dan?
Well, we in terms of retailers, we've kind of had a parade of them, and Michelle keeps showing up with some new weird thing that I thought, how the heck are they going to target these people? And then it turns out, well, guess what? You can. The one that kind of shocked me was in terms of the speed was we talked about it a little bit before, but the cosmetic, the skincare line, where these guys are trying to get a premium brand off the ground, and they've got a good product and they've got a good story, but they haven't had a whole bunch of customers, and they barely had enough customers to actually make a lookalike audience at all. I mean, it was like needed, but it was the same kind of deal. It was I think what they spend $70 or something like that, and it was 1,100 in sales. And that was it was a pretty picture of the of one of the herbal ingredients, like line art of the flower, and it was just a thing about this flower grows in the high Alps, and that's why it resists the UV rays, and that's how it makes you look young, and that's why we put it in our skin cream, and just a link to that, and bam, 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 bam. More than a dozen sales in just a couple of days, and that's one where that ended because they had it set to end because they were afraid to spend more than the $20 or $30 a day that they had. Right? When you don't know how it's going to turn out, you don't want to set a $1,000 budget. And one of the beautiful things about Facebook is you can have a very low budget and actually get some results out of it. You can't do. I mean, if somebody told me that my budget to get them off the ground with AdWords was $60. Good luck. Why don't you talk to Michelle and maybe run some Facebook ads instead?
Yeah. So now, what were the kind of ratios there between paid and organic for that campaign?
That was actually the first one they ran was 20-80. So it was 20% organic, 80% paid. The third one that they ran was 80-20, completely the other way around. So it was 5 times 4 out of 5 were organic versus paid, and that was just basically running the same campaign a second time.
Interesting. And so what's the cause of that? I mean, seriously, there wasn't a whole bunch of content in between the two events?
I think it's just the familiarity of I've seen this before, and people know what they like because they like what they already know. And the same thing, like, right, why does frequency work? Well, it's the first time I saw it, I thought, oh, that's cool. Second time I saw it, I was like, I should check that out. Third time, it was like, I actually check it out. And then, like the dog barks and, the kid screams, and all of a sudden we've got, some piece of Charles Schultz Snoopy fiction or something going on. But the fourth time is when, oh, yeah, we should really get that. And so, kind of the first time it's just kind of an by the way offer a lot of the time, and we sort of like, the third or fourth exposure, and you can rotate stuff around so you can actually, you can actually have a series of messages so that you can add urgency to the offer, add time sensitivity to the offer as you go on. Same thing like, if you see with internet marketing product launches, the big day you get about half of the people, the big launch day, because that's everybody that was waiting for the freaking thing to be available. They've already decided, and then everybody that was on the fence goes and signs up or buys on the last day when it's about to be gone. And so you see the same kind of effects with a Facebook campaign. So you can kind of see that U shape, and we've still got to figure out how to make that W in the middle.
How do we do a Walker W on Facebook?
Michelle will figure that out before anybody else does.
So Terry has a question here that seems like that would be just kind of an interesting one. Using the Facebook Ad Manager, can you target people who change their status? Example, from married to not married.
Yes. How is that? Is that a good enough answer?
But presumably, I mean, I don't know. I have to ask Terry. But yeah.
There are some new targeting. Let me pull
Yeah, it's not actually about them changing their status. It's partner categories, right?
It's partner categories, and there is a new. Hang on, let me pop in here real quick. I'm not sharing my screen yet. Let me just pop over.
Because I want to run ads for dating sites at everybody that has switched their status to it's complicated in the last week.
Right. Well, you can do. Hang on, let me pull it up, and then I can answer this more intelligently. Talk among yourselves while I wait for the internet gods to grace me with their presence.
No, we're just going to sit here and watch you. Try to scare you.
That's right. You guys can still, even though I can't see you, you can still see me. Darn it.
I'm going to make you presenter so that people can actually see your screen as soon as you figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
Present. We're presenting Michelle to everyone there. Huh.
The best thing about our Hangouts is how professional and smooth they go with all of this technology.
So sharp.
Yeah, because we're the shits.
Well-oiled wheelbarrow.
Yeah, that's right. That's as complicated a machine as we can use around here at the Braintrust.
Let's see if I can share my screen, and let's take a look. You are presenting everyone.
Figure it out here, Terry. Terry says, "Hello."
So, and I want to share my entire screen.
Michelle might be one of those savants that's really good at running Facebook ads for people, but can't figure out. Nope. Turns out she's just good at everything.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
What do you do?
You guys can see my Facebook screen here?
Yes, we sure can.
So we're just going to do page post engagement. I hate that I have to, let's see, there it is. There's this one. This will work. So I'm just picking a post here. Post.
Click continue.
Click continue. All right.
Good catch, Corey.
Thanks, Corey. It's a team effort over here, man.
Well, it used to load automatically. You didn't have to click continue.
Okay, so I don't feel quite as strange then. Thank you. That is good. So you're right, Corey, for a page post, I don't have a choice to change the text. So right, it's right. Whatever the text was is what the text is.
Right.
Someone's iPhone is ringing.
Let's see. Now let's go down here and look at audiences. Custom audience. There was a life event. Anniversary in 30 days. New relationship. Have updated their profile with a new relationship. Newly engaged. Newlywed. Recently moved. An upcoming birthday.
So it looks like a new relationship, but a termination relationship, maybe not.
Not here. Right.
Check out the Friends of is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. So if you're selling, like, items for friends of the newly engaged, so now you can advertise wedding gifts or engagement gifts. Or move-in baskets. Gift baskets. Anybody in the gift business should be paying attention to this.
So to get what Terry's talking about. You don't have to know that they used to be single and now it's complicated, or they used to be married and now it's divorced. You can just target people that have chosen under a relationship complicated or divorced or whatever those terms are.
Yeah. And if you want to target somebody in an open relationship versus a complicated one, even.
There's one I should think about advertising too.
I was going to say, yeah, I can think of some offers there.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Another one that I've been using, guys, and I'd love you to weigh in on this, under demographics, is I want to make sure, like, for instance, I happen to know that my nephew, who is 13, has a Facebook page and it says he's 19.
Oh, right? Really?
Yeah. So I actually have started using this sort of, and of course the credit card helps too, under demographics, I've started using income. Even though it's all income, I'll sometimes will use all income just to eliminate people who don't actually have a life outside of Facebook that hash up with another partner category.
Mm-hmm.
So, don't know, just trying, just testing stuff. Terry, did that answer your question? The answer is not really, but yes.
Yeah. It's not really. You can one direction, but not the other. So,
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff.
Here, so what else we got here, Dan? I mean, sometimes almost anybody can use this cool stuff, right? I mean, there's almost no business we could think of that, unless it's something it's illegal to sell, right?
Right. That's the only time you have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Well, we talked with somebody this morning that some of the stuff that Facebook and Google are both, they're not interested in being the people that sold the bullets that went into the gun when somebody gets shot, and so they don't let you advertise the bullets or the gun. But you can still advertise holsters and things like that. It's like when we used to sell cigars, we couldn't advertise cigars. We had to sell humidors. And then once we got somebody to buy a humidor, then we sent them email, 45 times a day telling them they should buy cigars.
Since you've got a humidor, it would sort of make sense.
Yeah, don't you need to put something in that humidor? Shouldn't you be smoking something right now?
So here is my famous post that I accidentally posted for a $200 boost.
Oh yeah, that worked out well.
Yeah. But
so you went shopping for some traffic there, huh?
I did.
Wow, it's got a lot of shares though. That did really well.
Here we go. Here I want to show you.
Huh.
So you got an extra third for free. So you got almost $300 worth of traffic for $200.
Yeah. Well, and the shares, but here is the see results. Here's the part that was fascinating to me, and this was a really broad audience. I did not intend to do $200. I intended to do $2, and I'm gonna let you guys even see. The audience was 18 to 65, so it was all girls who have an interest in online shopping. That's it.
Which would be pretty much all girls.
Which would be pretty much all girls. So I went with that. I didn't even try to narrow it down. But here's something that I found really interesting. Is they tell us that people under 25 aren't really active on Facebook, right? That they're still over on Snapchat and all these other things. Yes? No? Have you guys heard?
Just the really stupid ones, as it turns out. But yeah.
Who they is.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys can see this, but you actually can look under a boost and see how it was reached. It was all women. But this 18 to 24 category, and I'm not saying they would necessarily be a target market. I'm just doing warm-up with these posts and doing some tests and stuff. But still, all of here, way more activity than all the others added together.
Mm.
So if you do sell something to people who are 18 to 24 and they're in your target market, don't ignore Facebook just because everybody else tells you they're not there, because apparently they are.
Yeah. Interesting.
So, there we go. All right. So my $200 mistake. Be careful, by the way, and I've seen it almost happen to me a couple more times. If you are doing these boosts, and I think it happened to me because I switched between accounts, I'm managing different customer accounts or I'm managing targeted audience. So if you set your amount and then you make any other change to that boost, it goes back to that default $200.
Oh,
So
nice.
to make sure that the very last thing you do when you're doing a boost, this is the money maker for this call. I'll save you thousands of dollars. The very last thing you do on your boost is check your money before you hit boost.
Now, Google, if you try to raise your bid from $1 to $100 in AdWords, will say, "Are you sure? You seem to be increasing this by a very large amount." But Facebook is smarter than Google in this. They're willing to let you spend $200 if you like.
Yeah, because they don't. Yeah, they apparently like money. That's good. Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with that as a general principle.
Works for me. Yeah. Okay, well, we're almost top of the hour, so I wonder, if people, obviously people can do this for themselves, but I think that they could probably actually get Michelle to help them too, couldn't they?
Yes, you can actually just hire Michelle to work with you on this stuff, and, well, the cost, if you're one of the Platinum members, you can add that for just $200 a month. For normal civilians who aren't already part of our coaching program, it's $497 a month, and now we might be challenged to actually spend that much on your advertising, but we feel pretty good about our ability to get you the ROI that you're looking for. Leslie, I believe you've got links there that folks could just go sign up, but certainly we're happy to talk about it with you if you want to talk with us about it and see if the fit, everybody always believes that their market is different and their business is different, and it always is, but that just means that the way that we approach it is different. So Michelle, can people email you and just get a conversation started?
Absolutely. Michelle@marketersbraintrust.com.
Let me see. Leslie was able to pronounce Sangthorn. What? Sangthong wrong. So Michelle is Michelle. Exactly like it should be. The only correct way to spell Michelle, in my opinion, at marketersbraintrust.com.
And so then here's this. Here's the platinum upgrade link.
I think that's most of the folks that are in the big audience or the inner audience box, right? Those are our members in the secret insider audience.
Exactly.
Hey Terry, send me an email and let me see if I can help you figure out what's going on with your Facebook. I have seen a few people having problems. Their Facebook is different than my Facebook, and that's just Facebook continuing to roll out changes.
And sometimes your Facebook still sucks and Michelle's is better.
Because I'm
Michelle's changed so it sucks and yours is better, but they change it like every week.
They really do. It really has been unsettling to be so active and go in to do exactly what you did yesterday and have the interface be completely different.
Yeah, it's the nature of the beast. I mean, where the heck does this continue button come from? Why do I have to continue? I already chose. Why do I have to choose and then continue? Why can't I just choose and we're done?
Choose, go to the moon.
Some developer decided.
Well, yeah, no telling. I mean, maybe they were actually trying to solve a real problem, but yeah, they're rated.
It's the stupid people that add continue buttons for the rest of us.
I suppose there's something.
So you have to continue and confirm you want to spend $200 on your boost, this is the highest amount anybody's ever tried to pay for a boost, but okay.
They know what you're talking about. Let's charge them.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Might as well take their money. They said yes. Yeah, the thing about changing it where it changes back to the default looks like a little bit of a support nightmare for them now. I would try to fix that. That looks like a bad idea.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay, so that's great. So if you want, any of you platinum members, it's pretty easy upgrade to get Michelle to work with you on the Facebook targeting stuff. For those of you, if there's anyone on this call, the sound of my voice or on the replay, that's not part of our platinum program, then there's a different offer for that. But certainly you don't have to have
just signing up for the platinum program and hiring Michelle to work with you.
It's pretty much exactly that.
Because at the moment, the only way to sign up for the platinum program is to work with Michelle because we want to see everybody get good results.
There you go. That works. And obviously you don't have to have very many wins to make $500 a month work. $497 is not a lot compared to the even the smallest case that we've seen where this worked. And have we ever found, Dan? Do we have anybody where we've tried to make Facebook work for them and it just flat didn't work?
Not yet, but we've seen lots of people that tried to make Facebook work by talking to 1 million people about some very specific thing, and it didn't work. But that's just a matter of targeting. I mean, I really haven't found a business where we can't make Facebook work. Certainly, Facebook isn't always going to be the #1 channel. A lot of businesses, you're better off with AdWords.
Right.
People that are doing very tactical stuff like plumbers, right? I need a plumber right now. Okay, I'm going to go search. Facebook in that is more like running a billboard. You're sponsoring the cute local dog dog adoption of the week or whatever like that. And what you're doing is getting local people to click and become fans on Facebook, and local people in particular, you'd like to get them to be to connect with you on Google+, because then when they go and search, then not only do your ads reach them cheaper, but your organic is much more likely to reach them. And so there are kind of roundabout ways where 20 or 30 bucks a month on Facebook can have a lot of benefit for SEO, as you guys already know. And so certainly for some businesses where it's going to be nearly impossible to catch people in the act of needing a plumber or something like that, those are the kind where it's really more of a boost for your search and organic presence, and not something that you're going to try and target. My toilet is busted as an interest on Facebook.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. That's.
Although that probably is an interest on Facebook, just because there's one for everything almost.
Grown. Now what? There's 2 questions. I know we're over time here. There were 2 questions that came into Lifeline. Do we want to?
Oh yeah, sure. Well, I think I answered them both though.
I don't know.
We could review them here just for folks.
Answers are 3 and yes. No.
Yeah,
3.4, Dan. 3.4.
Yeah, 14159265355.
I like to round off.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Actually get the
1. Yeah, it looks like you got them both in there.
Yeah. Well, that's the cool thing about that new plugin, is it actually tells me that there's somebody asking me a question, right? Like, shockingly good.
As opposed to that emailed you, somebody was asking you a question?
Well, there was that, but it was kind of a roundabout way involving manual, copying and pasting, and it was weird. So, just saying. Yeah, you're pulling a leg here. Let's see. Come on, hurry up and load the public. The member sets up so we can actually look at the questions. Any day now, it'll load up. Apparently, this whole broadcasting video stuff takes a lot of bandwidth.
It does.
Yeah. At least it makes it hard to load web pages as a result, as it turns out. Maybe I need to upgrade to the special iBroadcast video plan with Comcast, if there is such a plan.
So, in the meantime, is Corey winning Movember, or am I?
Is he doing what?
No, I didn't even start.
Oh, that's actually a shave?
This is just, no, it's just good lighting.
Ah, okay.
It looks like shadow. It's called I had meetings all morning. I couldn't get ready.
You guys are having a beard race? Seriously?
Definitely not.
Movember, Leslie. It's Movember.
What? Okay,
Yeah.
pretend I have no idea why that's important.
If
It's
you didn't
important.
win Movember, don't try to win December.
Oh, JP asked a question about are all these options in Quaya, and JP, it'd be good to go to Quaya and ask them. I don't know. I don't use it.
Yeah, JP said, yeah.
Most of the targeting stuff we're talking about, you can do in Quaya. You can't use it to boost posts. That's done in Facebook, because it's the training wheels version that we just happen to have turned into turbo speed training wheels in some cases.
Yeah, so what's the real reason to use Quaya at this point? I mean, I remember at one point it was much easier to use than Facebook's tool or whatever, but Facebook changes so fast. Is there a compelling reason to use Quaya or not?
Well, one of them is that Facebook changes their interface all the time, even if stuff, the way it works, doesn't necessarily change. And it depends. There are some features that they're released to developer partners, like Quaya to use before they're available to normal civilians, and so where they're able to keep up and kind of skate ahead a little bit, Quaya can be very useful. And honestly, if I had to manage a whole bunch of ads, a whole bunch of ad campaigns and deal with all the rotation and everything, I'd probably be looking at Quaya more seriously. Most of the folks that we deal with, there's smaller retailers, there's smaller businesses, spending a few $100s in making $5,000-$10,000 in sales is a good result for them, and they're not trying to get to the $5,000 a month. Or I know people that spend 6 figures a month on Facebook advertising, and they aren't doing it in the ads manager anymore at that scale. But for most of the folks that we work with, you're not trying to operate at that scale.
Yeah. That's right. Let's see. More split testing, and JP is continuing that question. I don't know if it's, there's not really actually split testing anyway on Facebook, bear in mind.
You can rotate images, but you can't.
Yeah, it's serial testing, which is not real testing, but that's all you can do. The platform doesn't allow real splits. And I'm not sure Quaya would be a great benefit there or not. The 2 lifeline questions we had, one was about rules for presenting abstracts and tags. That was Bobby answered that asked this question. You can see the way we do it on our homepage. The issue is in the volume of blog content that we recommend in order to really see the SEO results that we get. We're talking about 15 items a week, and those are in abstracts and commentaries. And so if you're also doing feature posts, which you should be doing, then what happens is your features get buried in your abstracts and commentary. So you want to try to have multiple streams of content on your page, and they're all surfaced more or less independently. So you have multiple streams visible. And you can see that's what we do on Marketers Braintrust. If you look close, you'll find that we actually have 4 independent streams now. We're going to have a 5th one to deal with Hangouts as well. The 3 of them are available are visible on the homepage, and 2 are not. So the 3 that are visible on the homepage, 2 of those are just automated streams of content. One is features, and one is abstracts and commentaries. And the other one is Instant Classics, which is actually manual setup. And that's just laid out within the news theme on the homepage. There are other themes that can do it. Just it happens that news theme is very, very good at putting together kind of a magazine style or newspaper style site. Training is the other one, and training is a category into it itself that only appears on a separate tab. It doesn't actually appear on the homepage at all. So those are the kind of things you need to think through when you start doing the content pyramid. The base of the pyramid is high volume compared to the stuff at the top of the pyramid. But the stuff at the top of the pyramid is more valuable in terms of how well it communicates your USP or your particular brand.
That's the one you want to make sure you reach your people with.
Right, and so the base of the pyramid is to get people, and then the higher level stuff, the higher end stuff, is the one to really really hook them, if you will. And so you want to make sure that you don't bury your feature content in the stream of lower end content. And so the only way to really do that is to make some arrangements on the blog using categories and the way categories are presented on the blog, so that you can actually have access to both of them. The way we've done it is one way. There's other ways to do it for clients. A couple of cases, what we did is we just left their blog alone and put a widget over in the sidebar, so you had usual stuff like opt-in and recent posts or a tag cloud maybe or whatever, and then we'd put a widget that actually was just the what we would call quick reads or abstracts, and that was just a widget that took that particular category, the abstract category, and showed the recent posts, which is kind of a special recent post widget. That leaves the center section of the blog for just features. That works as long as the client, in our case, was doing lots of features, and so it didn't, so the front page didn't get stale. In his case, it was. There was a related question about how to use tags, which we don't really need to go into right now. It's a lot longer. I did answer it in my lifeline question. And then Terry was asking a question about, essentially, kind of focused on the question of duplicate content. If you have a bunch of landing pages which are very similar, it's either the products themselves are similar, or it's a similar, it's a series of landing pages for the same product or very closely related products. The question is, what do you do with that? Is that a problem? In this case, we're only 20 of them on the site. I don't really think that's a big problem. You can prove to yourself what it's a problem by just going in analytics, looking at a long-term view, restricting it to look at only Google organic traffic, and see if you had one of those pages hovering along and then drop suddenly. If that's true, then Google thinks there's something wrong with your site or those pages and believes that you are gaming them by having a bunch of similar landing pages. But if you don't see that, then there's nothing to worry about. You should just move on. So that's that. Before you jump to the conclusion that, I have 2 pages that are alike, and therefore there's a duplicate content issue, and therefore there's a site quality issue. No, not necessarily. Particularly if you're only talking about 20 pages.
Yeah, Google's not trying to have that kind of a hair trigger.
Yeah, I mean, it would be 80% false positives, right? I mean, you'd have so many sites.
The internet would be low quality.
Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah.
Well, it is, but
there's that.
On average, it's pretty bad, but on average, it's basically spam, but still. On your site, you're well above that level unless you're trying to be that bad. And so, a little bit here and a little bit there is not even going to move the needle on Google's end.
Indeed, yeah, and the sites where we find that there's some significant site quality issues, there's things that are truly egregious. We see comment spam. Blog comment spam is huge. Embedded anchor text links in your blog posts, that's also really, really big. If you do lots and lots of either one of those, you can expect some problems.
And then mix in 600 tags, or a ratio of 600 tags per blog post, and then you've got about 600 pages of useless duplicate content for every post that you just robotically created for yourself. That's the kind of thing that can lead to problems.
Yeah, that does actually relate to the other question that Bobby had. So right now, I think our worst case scenario was a client that had 58 posts and 1,900 tags. And so the impact of that is that there's, for every one of those tags, there's a tag page. And so the tag page itself is going to have only one of 58 posts on it. So obviously you're going to have mostly completely identical tag pages.
Hundreds of duplicate pages that have the exact same thing on them, except the name of the tag is different.
Yeah. Looks like Karen has a new question here. Dan, you mentioned before that you were putting out something about giving things away to get Facebook participation. Where can I see that? I don't actually know what they're talking about. I'm not sure what you're talking about there.
Actually, Facebook's like gating policy change was announced back in June. That's just rolled out. So apparently, we don't have any problems with telling people that we'll do something for them if they share. It's forcing people to make that connection, which breaks Facebook's advertising machine. That they've had the big problem with. So forcing somebody to install an app to get something, or forcing somebody to like you to get something, and that's really, so you can't have the free ebook unless you like us, or you can't have the free ebook unless you install our app. On the other hand, you can tell them that hey, this app is awesome, and you get all this stuff, and go ahead and hook up the app. So the rules are really, really fuzzy. But basically, what they're trying to do is enforce rules about light gating, and honestly, it's one that you'd really have to understand on a case-by-case basis to even get a guess at how Facebook is going to deal with it if you're getting close to the margins. But because with Karen, we actually had to come up where we weren't sure if what they were doing was okay. But I think that that you're okay on what you were doing there. As far as Facebook is concerned, I'm not sure if it's the best way to qualify people for the offer, but certainly I don't think we have a problem with Facebook there. They were giving people extra entries if they shared it for a giveaway that they were doing, and that seems to be just fine.
Yeah, it looks like Terry's giving us a little bit more information about his question he put in Lifeline. And Terry, it's probably better to go ahead and continue that discussion there.
I thought that was comment spam. Thanks, Terry.
Yeah, it looks like comment spam. And so, yeah, but go ahead and actually extend that to because what you're suggesting there looks to me like there is an attempt to do some sort of keyword game with some spun landing pages. If that's the case, then yeah, there's a number of dangers associated with doing that.
On the other hand, you could just have one and use it as the canonical and make as many copies as you want to for landing pages. We do that all the time. We're dealing with, targeting, plumbers in Seattle, plumbers in Tacoma, plumbers in Federal Way, plumbers in Fife. These people live in different cities and they don't want to go to a page that has the name of the other city because they're confused. We also don't want Google indexing 95 pages that are exactly the same because there's that many neighborhoods we're targeting. And so what we have to do is build up the stack of pages and then put canonical on all of them. So essentially we point to the one general page that Google can index, and it might not be what we'd want for SEO terms, but it's very safe. And we're not really trying to get penalized by advertising, and we're not trying to get a benefit from advertising, so that makes it very easy and clear kind of what our intent is to run ads. Right.
Yeah, and so this could very well be that, this I think is a client of Terry's, and it could very well be that they're locked in the the 1990s and early 2000s kind of keyword focus, and that's not the right way to achieve that result in search. As Dan says, it's much safer to do a canonical in that case if you're going to have those landing pages at all.
Yeah, because all of those are the same landing page to me.
Looks like it to me too.
I mean, you can build one page that answers all those because I think that those are just different ways of expressing the same value proposition. So yeah. I don't know why that would be more than one page except for possibly advertising purposes.
Well, that's just it. I think that he's also running PPC advertising to some number of those pages, and so as I said before you start 301ing the damn things, you definitely want to make sure that you're not screwing up your AdWords campaign. But you can canonical, and all that's ever going to do is change what happens in organic. So yeah, good. All right, well, I think that's a wrap for this week. We're actually 20 minutes over on our hour of power. And let's see, for next week, we want to figure out what's our theme for next week. I have an idea.
Abstracting for Christmas, Corey?
Corey dropped out, it looks like.
Corey had to run. He was actually affected by us running over more than the rest of us were. The rest of us are just about to be affected.
Yeah.
How about... No, we already talked about email, Leslie.
Yeah, actually, I'm thinking about maybe we kind of return to our roots a little bit and talk about SEO.
Ooh, there's a good idea. Let's talk about SEO. It don't work like it used to, people.
Well, it does and it doesn't. So, and I'm late for a call.
It works for a couple of weeks like it used to.
Yeah, true. Yeah, indeed. All right, well, let's plan on that. I'll put together some material, and we can get into an SEO discussion for next week on the Braintrust Hour of Power, as Dan so much great cliche. And so with that, this is Leslie Rowe, Dan Thieves, and Michelle and Corey, who's already gone. Thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
See y'all next time.
Thanks, y'all.